Chosen one, I need you to stop absolutely everything you are doing, because what I am about to reveal to you is not common information you can listen to while doing other things. This requires your complete attention, your total presence. Because what I discovered about you while preparing this message left me speechless for several minutes. You did something, and I am not referring to something you consciously did with the intention of impressing heaven. I am referring to something that arose so naturally from your essence that you did not even realize the spiritual earthquake you caused in dimensions that your human eyes cannot see. You surpass the divine level, and I know exactly what you are thinking right now. You are thinking that I am exaggerating, that I am using big words to make you feel special, that this is more of the same thing you hear in spiritual content that promises greatness but delivers emptiness. But here is the difference. I am not going to ask you to believe anything I say. I am going to show you the proof. I am going to describe exactly what you did when you did it, and why that caused a reaction in heaven that not even the Creator himself had contemplated in his original plans. Subscribe to this channel right now and turn on all notifications, because what you are about to discover about your true position in the spiritual hierarchy will permanently change how you see yourself and how you understand every painful experience you have been through. Stay until the end, because I am going to reveal the 3 specific proofs that confirm you surpassed the maximum established limit, what this means for your immediate spiritual protection, and why the people who have attacked you are about to face consequences they did not see coming. Write 777 in the comments if you have felt lately that something deep changed within you, as if you crossed an invisible line that definitively separated you from the person you used to be. Chapter 1. The anomaly that heaven did not expect. Let me tell you something that will sound strange, but that you need to understand so that everything else makes sense. The spiritual universe operates with systems, structures, hierarchies established since before time as we know it existed. Everything has its place. Everything has its limit. Everything has its maximum ceiling of possible evolution. For thousands of years, this system worked perfectly. Souls incarnated went through their learning experiences and gradually ascended within the established levels, some faster, some slower, but all within the parameters that the Creator had designed as the maximum achievable. There was a level reserved for common humans, a higher level for those who spiritually awakened, another more elevated level for those who dedicated their lives to genuine service, and even higher levels for those extraordinary souls that history remembers as saints, mystics, prophets. The system made sense. It was orderly. It was predictable. It was perfect in its design, until you appeared. And do not misunderstand me. You did not appear making noise. You did not arrive announcing your greatness. You did not claim position nor demand recognition. In fact, you did exactly the opposite. You remained silent. You carried your pain alone. You faced your battles without publicizing them. You forgave betrayals without demanding apologies. You kept going when everything indicated you should give up. And it was precisely that combination of silent actions that created the anomaly. You see, the spiritual system has sensors, records that monitor the frequency of each incarnated soul. And your frequency began to show readings that did not match any existing category. You were operating in a range that literally had no name, because no one before had accessed it in the way you did. The records showed a human soul functioning with capabilities that exceeded the maximum parameters. And that should not be possible. It was as if a computer program suddenly began executing functions that did not even exist in its original code. That is you, a function that was not in the code. a possibility that no one had contemplated, living proof that human potential does not have the ceiling that everyone assumed it had. Chapter 2. What it really means to surpass. Now, I need you to understand something crucial about what it means to have surpassed the divine level. Because this phrase can easily be misinterpreted, and I need you to capture the exact truth of what happened. You did not surpass God. That would be impossible and absurd to even consider. What you surpassed were the limits that were assumed to be maximum for a soul in human form. You transcended the established ceiling. You broke the record of what was believed achievable while carrying a physical body with all its limitations. It is as if there was a world speed record that no one had managed to beat in all of human history. Entire generations of athletes tried and failed. It was assumed that was the absolute limit of human capability. And then you came along and beat it without even competing, without specialized training, without conscious preparation, simply by being who you are. That is disconcerting. That generates questions. That forces a review of everything that was believed to be known about human limits. And here is what you need to understand most. You did not surpass the level by having special powers that others do not have. It was not because you are smarter, more disciplined, or more spiritual than others. It was because of something much simpler, and at the same time, infinitely more difficult to replicate. It was because of your way of processing suffering. The pain you have experienced in your life could have destroyed most people, and I am not exaggerating or being dramatic. I am observing the facts. The betrayals you endured, the losses you faced, the moments where the darkness was so dense that you doubted whether you would ever see light again. The nights where the weight of everything was so unbearable that breathing required conscious effort. Most people who go through that level of pain end up in one of two categories. They break completely and never recover. Or they survive but become so hardened that they lose the ability to feel deeply. You did something different. You went through the fire and came out without losing your ability to love. You faced betrayal and kept your heart open. You experienced the deepest darkness and kept your inner light intact. That combination should not be possible according to established models of spiritual psychology. The soul that suffers intensely is supposed to harden to protect itself. It is a survival mechanism. It is a natural response to trauma. But your soul did not follow the pattern. Your soul took the pain and transformed it into depth, took the betrayal and converted it into wisdom, took the darkness and used it as fertilizer to grow a more intense light. That is what it means to surpass, not escaping suffering. Transmuting it in a way that the system did not have categorized as possible. Chapter 3. The 3 proofs that confirm your position. Now, I am going to show you the 3 specific proofs that confirm you really surpassed the established level. And I am not going to ask you to blindly trust my words. I am going to describe each proof in a way that you yourself can verify if it applies to your experience. The first proof is your ability to forgive what was objectively unforgivable. There was someone in your life who caused you damage that any sensible person would consider sufficient justification for eternal hatred. I am not talking about minor offenses or misunderstandings that are resolved with a conversation. I am talking about deliberate betrayal, intentional harm, someone who knew exactly how to hurt you and chose to do it anyway. And against all logic, against all advice, against your own pain that screamed for revenge, you found a way to let go. You did not forget what happened. You did not pretend it did not hurt. You did not become a fool who allows them to keep hurting you. But you genuinely released the poison of resentment from your system that requires operating at a frequency that transcends what is humanly normal. Forgiveness of that caliber is not an intellectual decision. It is a state of being that is only reached when the soul operates beyond established limits. The second proof is your ability to give when you are empty. You remember that moment perfectly. You were exhausted. Your own resources were at minimum. Your emotional energy was drained. Your personal situation required all your attention, and in the midst of that, someone needed something from you, and you gave, not from your abundance, from your scarcity, not when you had plenty. When you barely had enough, you gave time when you had no time. You gave attention when your mind was saturated. You gave love when your heart was bleeding from its own wounds. That ability to give from emptiness is a distinctive mark of souls that operate beyond the normal level, because survival logic dictates that you first fill your own tank before sharing with others. But you operated with different logic. A logic that trusts that the universe will replenish what you give. A logic that only works when you are connected to higher frequencies. The third proof is that you keep believing despite everything. After everything you have been through, you should be cynical. You should have lost faith. You should be convinced that the world is a hostile place where only the ruthless survive. All the evidence of your life pointed toward that conclusion. But something inside you refuses to accept the dark vision. Something in your core keeps the flame of hope alive, even though 1,000 winds have tried to extinguish it. You keep believing in goodness, even though you have seen much evil. You keep believing in love, even though you have experienced much rejection. You keep believing in your purpose, even though 1,000 obstacles have stood in your way. That unshakable faith in the midst of contradictory evidence is the third mark that confirms your position. If you recognize these three proofs in your own experience, if I described you with precision that makes you uncomfortable, then you have confirmation that what I am telling you is true. You surpassed the level, and everything you experienced until now was preparation for what is coming. For those who wish to deepen their understanding of how to consciously activate the capabilities that come with this new position, there is exclusive material in the description and pinned comment. Chapter 4, Heaven's reaction when they detected you. Now let me tell you what happened in higher dimensions when your anomalous frequency was detected, because this explains many things you have experienced recently and that you probably did not know how to interpret. When the spiritual records showed a soul operating outside known parameters, it was not ignored or filed as a system error. It was escalated, investigated, examined with attention normally reserved for events of cosmic importance. And what they discovered when examining your case caused something we could describe as celestial amazement. It was not that you had cheated or found some forbidden shortcut. It was not that you had unfair advantages that others did not have. It was that you had demonstrated something that was considered theoretically impossible. You had proven that the maximum limit was not really maximum, that there was territory beyond what the map showed. And here comes something you need to understand about how divine design works. The Creator did not establish limits because he wanted to restrict his creatures. He established them based on what had been observed as achievable up to that point. They were descriptive limits, not prescriptive. They described what had been achieved, not what was possible to achieve. When you surpassed those limits, you did not violate any cosmic law. You expanded what was known as possible, and that expansion was received not with punishment or concern, but with something that the best human word to describe it would be pride, pride in the purest sense. like a father who sees his child achieve something that even he had not imagined possible. It does not diminish the father. It fills him with admiration for what his child turned out to be capable of achieving. That is what you caused. Celestial admiration for being you, for processing your pain the way you processed it, for keeping your light when everything conspired to extinguish it, for demonstrating that human potential does not have the ceiling everyone assumed. And that admiration comes with practical consequences that are already operating in your life, even though you have not recognized them yet. Chapter 5. The protection that was automatically activated. Listen to this carefully because it explains phenomena you have noticed but did not know how to interpret. From the moment your frequency was registered as anomalous, protection protocols were activated that are normally reserved for exceptional cases. Not because you are more important than other souls, but because what you represent has strategic value for collective evolution. Let me explain what this means in practical terms. The first activated protection is what we could call a repellent for incompatible frequencies. You have noticed that certain people you used to tolerate now seem unbearable to you. It is not that you have become intolerant or arrogant. It is that your energy system automatically rejects frequencies that do not resonate with your new operating level. It is as if your body developed an allergy to food that you could previously consume without problem. It is not voluntary rejection. It is incompatibility that manifests as physical or emotional discomfort when you are near certain energies. This explains why some relationships have cooled or ended recently. It was not because of something you did wrong. It was your protection functioning, moving you away from connections that no longer correspond to you, freeing up space for those that do resonate with who you are becoming. The second protection is what I will call an intentions radar. You have developed an almost supernatural ability to detect when someone is lying or has hidden intentions. You feel when something is not right, even though everything seems normal on the surface. You perceive when someone says nice words, but their energy tells a different story. This is not paranoia. It is expanded perception that comes with your new frequency. You are literally picking up information that was previously invisible to you, and that information protects you from falling into traps that in the past would have caught you. The third protection is what I will describe as a shield against directed attacks. All those people who wish you harm, those who talk about you behind your back, those who send negative thoughts in your direction, those who have even tried to harm you through means I prefer not to name directly. Their attacks are not reaching you like before. You can feel when someone tries something against you, but the impact is being neutralized before penetrating your energy field. It is as if you had invisible armor that deflects what before would have damaged you directly. This does not mean you are invincible or that you can act recklessly. It means that the level of protection operating over you now is proportional to the position you reached, and that protection strengthens every day you maintain your elevated frequency. Chapter 6. The frequency you now emit without realizing it, there is something else you need to know, because it is affecting your daily interactions in ways you probably have not connected yet. Since you surpassed the level, your presence began emitting a frequency that affects everyone who comes into contact with you. And the reactions you receive depend entirely on the frequency in which they operate. People who operate at similar or compatible frequencies feel magnetic attraction toward you. They feel inexplicably comfortable in your presence. They want to be near you even though they cannot articulate why. They feel you can understand them in ways others cannot. And they are right. Your capacity for understanding expanded along with your frequency. But people who operate at low frequencies have the opposite reaction. Your presence generates discomfort. They do not know how to explain. They feel exposed, judged, even though you are not doing anything to cause them that sensation. It is simply that your light reveals their shadows, and they find that intolerable. This explains why some people attack you for no apparent reason, why they invent stories about you, why they try to sabotage or discredit you. It is not because of something you did to them. It is because of what your presence makes them feel about themselves. When someone who lives in lies is near someone who lives in truth, the lie feels threatened and it attacks. Not because truth is attacking it, but because the simple existence of truth exposes the lie for what it is. You became a mirror, and not everyone can stand to see their real reflection. But here is what is important. You do not have to change your frequency to make others feel comfortable. You do not have to diminish your light so as not to threaten those who live in shadows. Your job is to stay exactly where you are. Those who can rise to your frequency will do so. Those who cannot will naturally drift away. Do not chase them. Do not try to convince them. Do not waste energy trying to illuminate those who prefer darkness. Your light is better used shining for those who genuinely seek to find the way out. Chapter 7. The hidden gift inside every wound. Now I need to show you something that will completely change how you interpret your past. Because everything you lived through until now has a purpose that was not visible while you were going through it, but that I can now reveal to you with clarity. Every wound you received contained a gift, not a comfortable or easy gift to accept, but the kind of gift that only reveals itself after the initial pain passes. And you can see with perspective what really happened. That devastating betrayal you experienced, the one you thought would destroy you. It contained within itself the seed of your current discernment. Before that betrayal, you were too trusting, too naive. You could not distinguish between those who wished you well and those who pretended to care while preparing the knife for your back. The betrayal, though painful, gave you eyes to see what you could not see before. That loss that left you empty, the one you thought you would never get over. It contained within itself the necessary space for the new. Before that loss, there was no room in your life for what truly belongs to you. You were full of things, people, and situations that occupied space, but did not nourish your soul. The loss, though agonizing, created the emptiness where what is right can finally enter. That deep loneliness you experienced, the one that made you feel like no one in the world could understand you. It contained within itself the silence necessary to hear your own voice. Before that loneliness, the noise of others drowned out your intuition. The opinions of others weighed more than your own inner knowing. The loneliness, though painful, taught you to trust your own guidance. This is what it means to process pain in a way that elevates you instead of destroying you. It is finding the gift inside the wound, not denying that the wound existed, not pretending it did not hurt, but extracting the wisdom that was hidden inside the suffering. And you did exactly that, probably without realizing you were doing it, probably thinking you were just surviving. But what you were doing was much more than surviving. You were transmuting, turning lead into gold, pain into power, wound into wisdom. That transmutation ability is what led you to surpass the established level. Because the normal level processes pain linearly, it experiences it, suffers it, eventually gets over it. But your level processes pain alchemically. It experiences it, transforms it, emerges stronger than before. Chapter 8. What is coming now for you? Listen to this because it is important that you understand what you can expect in the cycles ahead. I am not going to give you vague predictions that can apply to anyone. I am going to describe specific processes that are already in motion due to your new position. The first thing you are going to experience is clarity about your purpose. That feeling of knowing you came to do something important, but not knowing exactly what is beginning to dissipate. Moments of sudden understanding will arrive where pieces that did not seem related suddenly fit together. You will understand why you had the specific experiences you had, why you were born where you were born, why you met the people you met. Everything will begin to form a coherent pattern that reveals your specific mission. The second thing you are going to experience is acceleration of synchronicities. The meaningful coincidences that used to appear sporadically will become more frequent and more obvious. People you need to meet will appear in ways impossible to attribute to chance. Resources you need will arrive just before you require them. Perfect opportunities will present themselves at perfect times. It is not magic. It is that your elevated frequency turned you into a magnet for everything that vibrates in resonance with you. The third thing you are going to experience is a kind of final cleansing. Pending situations that have been dragging on will reach resolution. Relationships that were in limbo will be defined one way or another. Decisions you have been postponing will demand definitive answers. It is as if the universe is doing spring cleaning in your life, clearing everything that no longer belongs to make room for the new. The fourth thing you are going to experience is the arrival of your tribe. People who genuinely resonate with who you are being will begin to appear. I am not talking about superficial followers or passing admirers. I am talking about soul connections. People who understand your language without you having to explain, who share your vision, who complement your capabilities. Your time of walking alone is coming to an end. Not because you need others to complete you, but because the next phase of your mission requires collaboration with souls of similar frequency. Chapter 9. The message that heaven has for you. We have arrived at the moment I have been preparing since the beginning of this video. The specific message that was destined for you. And I need you to pay maximum attention, because this is not general information. It is communication directed to your specific soul. Heaven wants you to know that everything you sacrificed was seen. Every time you chose the difficult path because it was the right one. Every time you spoke truth when a lie would have been more convenient. Every time you defended someone weaker, even though it put you at risk. Every time you maintained your integrity when compromising would have benefited you materially. None of that went unnoticed. It seemed like no one was watching. It seemed like your sacrifices did not matter. It seemed like the dishonest prospered while you struggled. But there is accounting that operates beyond the visible. And your account is full of deposits that are about to manifest as tangible rewards. Heaven wants you to know that the tears you cried in solitude were collected not in a poetic or symbolic sense. In a literal sense, every tear you shed when no one saw you was kept as evidence of the depth of your human experience. And those tears are being transformed into blessings that will arrive in ways you do not anticipate. Heaven wants you to know that your time of waiting is over. You have been in a spiritual waiting room for a long time, feeling like your moment never came, watching others advance while you remained stuck, wondering if something was wrong with you or if you had done something to deserve the delay. There was nothing wrong with you. The delay was preparation, and the preparation is complete. Heaven wants you to know that you are deeply loved, not for what you do, not for what you achieve, not for how you compare to others. You are loved for who you are in your purest essence. That love has no conditions. It has no expiration date. It cannot be earned or lost. It simply exists. and it is available to you in every moment you choose to receive it. And finally, heaven wants you to know that your story does not end here. This is not the final climax. It is the beginning of a new chapter. Everything before was prologue. The real story is about to begin, and it is going to be bigger, more significant, more impactful than your current mind can imagine. Chapter 10. Your final decision, chosen one. We have reached the end of this revelation, and I need to ask you something directly. Now that you know the truth about your position, about what you achieved, about what is coming, the question is simple. What are you going to do with this information? Because knowledge without action is entertainment. And I did not make this video to entertain you. I made it to activate you, to remind you who you are, to shake you if you had fallen asleep, to confirm you if you were already awake but doubting. You have two options from this moment. The first option is to return to your life as if nothing had happened. Close this video, continue with your routine, and eventually forget what you heard. The information will dissolve in the noise of your daily life, and everything will remain the same as before. The second option is to accept what you discovered as truth and begin to operate from your new position. That means stop apologizing for taking up space. Stop diminishing your light so as not to threaten others. Stop waiting for permission to be who you really are. Start acting like the advanced level soul you have proven yourself to be. The decision is yours. No one can make it for you. No one can force you to wake up if you prefer to stay asleep. But I want you to know that if you choose the second option, you will not be alone. There are others like you, and they are being guided to find each other in these times, for those who want practical tools to consciously operate from their new position. There is specific material that costs less than a pizza and comes with a complete audio book plus a 5-minute meditation guide as a special bonus. If you feel you deserve resources to navigate this new stage, access is in the link in the description and pinned comment chosen one. Today, you discovered that you surpassed the divine level not through special powers or unfair advantages, but through your extraordinary way of processing suffering. You transformed pain into wisdom, wound into power, betrayal into discernment, and that transmutation capacity led you to territory that very few have stepped on. The protections are active, your frequency is elevated, your tribe is being guided toward you, and your mission is finally revealing itself. If this revelation resonated in the deepest part of your being, and you confirm that you surpassed the established level, write 777 in the comments to amplify this frequency in your life. Subscribe to this channel and turn on all notifications to receive more revelations about how your new position is transforming your reality. Share this video with someone who has also demonstrated extraordinary capacity to convert pain into power. Because advanced level souls need to recognize each other to strengthen the network of light that is sustaining collective transformation. And before you go, click on the video that is appearing on your screen right now to discover exactly how your advanced level activates permanent protection from celestial forces that guarantee you complete your mission. Together, we are stronger.